You're listening. Okay, come on. You're listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. I'm Nancy Norton. I am a comedian, registered nurse, keynote speaker about the power of humor, why we need it, how it helps us, and I'm also a trauma survivor. Surprise! Surprise, surprise. I love those reels, the surprise reels. Nobody is surprised. Who isn't a trauma survivor? I got you. I heard you. But here we are. What are we doing here? We're just, sharing how we get through stuff. Last week, I did not have a guest, but I did have toxic shame around not having a guest. Actually, around a lot of stuff, which is basically, it's a core belief that I am... Okay, let me speak in the past tense. It was a core belief. I'm laughing because I think it's still current. Damn it. Core belief that I want to say it like, I want to speak in like the gender neutral indefinite pronoun of one. Like, toxic shame is a core belief that one is a bad person, unworthy of love, unwanted, and does not belong on earth. Okay, that's that felt better than saying I statements. I feel unlovable. I hate myself sometimes. Or do I hate myself all the time, but I can be in denial of it most of the time? I don't know. All right. I got to stop this intro. Listen, here's the thing. My friend answered my call, which is, hey, do you ever have to deal with toxic shame? How are you dealing with it? Sent me a meme and then agreed to come over and talk about it.
Gosh, I mean, I'm still working through it. It's not like I've like perfected this by any means. It's at like weeks, months, years, but also like what else do you really have to do with your life if not to like experience the kind of love that starts to release itself once you actually start to work through this stuff? I'll say, as bad as it can get, when you start to move through it, there's like no better feeling. Like this thing that has been like subconsciously kind of messing with you, control it. Since I've started doing these practices, like my confidence is way up, my eye contact is better, my stage presence is off the I mean, every aspect of my life. You're so much more connected with yourself. Exactly.
So that's what happened tonight on a Monday, and I'll be uploading this on overnight Monday into Tuesday morning. And it's tax day. I hope you're filing your extension on time. That's what I'm doing. I'll be hopefully filing my extension on time. I'll be filing an extension. Yeah. I always do this every single year. I say, I'm not going to do it this year. I'm not going to do it this year. I'm going to start way early. As soon as January, as soon as I get to 1099s, I'm going to do it in February. I'm going to do it in March. I'm going to do it April 14th. Anyway, okay. Fun with adrenaline and ADHD. Let's enjoy. Oh, I want to tell you about some important things coming up. I'm excited to share. Traumedy is going to be on Colorado Public Radio, not as a regular, but just as an interview with Ryan Warner. And I'm so excited about that, hoping to get the reach out to more people. Please share this with people that you think could benefit from just hearing from people that are dealing with some of the same stuff that they're dealing with. And I'm going to be doing Nurses Off the Charts for Nurses Week, May 6th at Comedy Works South in Denver, and May 8th at Looney's in Colorado Springs. And it's an interactive comedy show. Half the show is stand-up comedy brought to you by me and an opening act. And then the second half of the show is the audience sharing funny things that have happened to them and hopefully some inspiring things. I really love hearing those stories. You can find all the show information on my website, nancynorton.tv, like television. Click on upcoming shows. That takes you to my link tree, that takes you to all the buttons that take you to the shows. All right. Are there any questions? Let's get rolling. Enjoy this episode. Unwind some toxic shame. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is back by popular demand. One of my favorite guests and people in the world right now. Comedian, regular headliner at Second Chance Comedy, tours nationally, headlining shows. Welcome, Von Sprecken, everybody. Von,
Hey, thanks
yay!
for having me.
And thank you for answering my plea last episode about toxic shame, because I was putting it out there like, how are y'all doing? How are y'all dealing with this? I feel like I've made it a certain I don't know what I'm trying to do linearly, and know that recovery is a nonlinear process a lot of times. But I feel like, I'm done. I did it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, oh, it's back.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for answering.
No, I was super psyched. If anyone hasn't heard that episode, it's the one before this. Go back and listen. It's quick. It's like 15 minutes. Less than 15 minutes. And then, I listened to that and I was immediately inspired. Like, oh my, like I've been thinking about this so much lately. And like, I've talked to a bunch of people that are dealing with similar stuff too. So it jumped out at me immediately and I was like, oh, I got to hit up Nance right away. Cause like, I've been dealing with it a lot. And actually I'll lead into it with this. I'm doing a show called Exposed Storytelling. And it's very counterintuitive for me as a comedian, because the whole point of this show is to show people like it's like a very trauma heavy show. Like the whole point of this show is not to get laughs. This is just a storytelling show that is all about like, let's talk about the visceral, difficult reality that life sometimes throws at us, right? And so like last time I was on here, we talked about my story. I won, the Moth storytelling competition with a story about my brother.
Yeah.
But this is going to be an extended version. They give like, 10, 12 minutes to do an exposed story. And so I wrote a draft of this and then I went and I talked to the people that run it, and they coach people and stuff a bit. And we were talking about it and they were like, yeah, I mean, like I kind of tried to make it funny. Like my whole approach to this was that I wanted to sort of show like the long setup and get people laughing and make them comfortable. And then of course, obviously I have to, reveal the twist of like when I found my brother. And I almost like want them to forget that this is a trauma show though. And that's also my experience, when I went through it, like I was so sure he was going to get better. And so that's why it was so devastating when he didn't. But we were going over my story and I was kind of telling them like, yeah, I'm trying to sort of like almost distract from the hardness of it, from the difficulty of it. My instinct as a comedian is to make a joke, like any opportunity I can make a joke about it. And they were like, that's not the point of this show. Like it's okay to let the audience sit in that tension and just kind of like they come to this show in particular to just kind of feel bad a little bit. And then the host is really good at like bringing the room back up,
Yeah.
And like in between stories, the host comes out and kind of acknowledges like, hey, yeah, let's all just, feel that for a minute, check in with yourself. And then she's amazing at like, like just kind of bringing it back into a lighter, jokey, like does a little improv, talks with the audience. Everyone starts to feel kind of relaxed again. It's like a palate cleanser, a little,
yeah. I was trying
and then
to,
goes right into the next story. Yeah.
And it's so unusual in our culture to be able to publicly share something that is such a downer.
Yeah.
And also, like we do, I think that's why we're comedians, is because we do have this ability to, that's what Traumedy is all about.
Yeah.
Is to help you titrate your level of pain.
Yeah.
So my therapist would say, hey, comedy is a great way to let you feel it, to heal it, where you can go in a little deeper because you have this buoyancy of humor to let yourself back out of it. I just think I was trying to imagine, first of all, trying to imagine the mindset of the people that go to see the show. Like you said, I'm going to go in here, people talk about trauma dumping or whatever. I'm going to go in here and comedy, Traumedy, we do a little, we do, I don't know it's not just gratuitous dumping, but it's like, hey, we are going to share some deep, vulnerable hurts and traumas.
Yeah.
But we are going to kind of button it back up, clean it up, help reset the parasympathetic nervous system. I don't know. I'm just trying to imagine the folks that, like you said, they are like, that's what I need to go see. Well, but, maybe it's like heavy metal kind of relieves a little angst inside. Like maybe this kind of, maybe it's an attunement.
Yeah, and there is like a catharsis in being able to share these difficult feelings with it. It's like a theater full of people. They sell out the bug like all the time.
What is the name of it again?
It's called Exposed Storytelling.
Exposed.
Well, yeah. So I gave them my draft and we were kind of talking it through, and they're like, "Yeah, man, the point of this show is like, you don't have to look away or make a joke, or like you can really just face this stuff and just don't don't try to mitigate it. Like, tell people how much it really hurts. That's what this show's about. And this leads into
so just being
what
with
I
that
was
pain.
thinking about. Yeah. When you start talking about, and it like, I don't know if I haven't even told them this yet, but I might have this conversation with them where like, this is actually not just changing the way I think about writing, but this ended up sort of flipping my whole psychology on its head. As someone who always wants to make a joke, I'm like, what if you do just deal with the pain, you know? And so when you were talking about like a theme that came up when you were talking about your toxic shame is like, how do I get rid of this? How do I send it to who it really belongs to? What I would say is, who taught you to treat yourself that way?
Yeah.
Who, when you start feeling really bad, maybe not explicitly, but probably someone in your life, the adults in your life, certainly the adults in
clearly
mine.
my mother. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm always talking about my mom.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how I'm like, take this. In fact, I think on that episode, I was like, here,
Someone please send this to my mom.
Yeah. But it's sort of this whole generational trauma thing is like, can I send this back up the pike and have it transmuted with love and light from a higher power or something? Because obviously she didn't invent the stuff. It was a ball of shame that she passed on to me. And it was all, I do believe, out of a desire to, in a weird, messed up way, keep me safe.
Yeah.
And herself safe.
Oh, and we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I was just thinking about, I just saw something, a reel today that I made a bookmark of. In fact, I might play that. You know, I was saying how we might play something. That guy, I said, I want to save this. I don't know why, but I want to save this because he's talking about just sitting with that terror.
Yeah.
You know, in my recovery work, we talk about being terrified of abandonment.
Yeah.
And just sitting in that pain and that unmet need, you know, whatever that was. But beyond an unmet need, also the shame.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's like
But-
insult on top of injury.
So what if you could just sit with the shame? Like you do like some inner child work, right? Like I imagine myself as a 5-year-old, and if 5-year-old me came up to me and was like, I'm worthless, I'm horrible.
Yeah.
Now, the way my parents often dealt with that was like, well, that's a you problem, go deal with it. Like, so unconsciously, I was conditioned to think I cannot feel this way. That means abandonment. I mean, if anyone could see this feeling in me, they would know that something's wrong with me and they would never, they wouldn't deal with me. And then you unconsciously get that belief of like, well, it's just not worth dealing with. Just be grateful, just be happy. Basically like this feeling's bad, don't feel it. And I've been a lot lately, just been learning to like, if that little kid came to me and said he felt worthless, it's like, okay, but I'm not going to leave you. But I'm pretty sure I deserve to be left. It's okay that you feel that way. I will not leave you.
Yeah.
Just sit with it. Just feel it. I don't think you can. I don't think shame is something we get rid of. I think it's something that it's okay to feel that way. That's what sort of flipped on its head for me, was like, you can literally just, it's okay. Like, it's not all about, you're not only worthy of love when you feel you are. You're worthy of love even when you feel you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And you're right. That's a lot of the work I've been doing with reparenting, is to sit with my inner child. And it's like, it could be an inner baby. It can be, because I have such unwanted baby feeling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So one of your tools, you're saying, is just be with it.
Well, and
not try to get away from it,
and
but
live,
just let it express itself.
Yeah, kind of live in the contradiction of it too. Like, feel these feelings as hard as you can. Like, or really, I mean, and don't force them to feel more than they do. Like, you wouldn't tell a kid like, no, feel more shame until it comes out. Like, no, it's like it expresses itself naturally. It's a natural process.
Yeah.
And here's another, the advanced level. First, can you accept it? Like, if you found a kid who was like, I think I'm worthless. Okay, well, no matter, it's okay that you feel that way. I'm not going to treat you that way. Live in that contradiction. There's, the human body and mind contains multitudes. It's okay to feel more than one way about yourself. And so, yeah, when I start feeling, like deeply like, oh God, like I'm just not worthy. If anyone could see me for who I really am, they'd abandon me. It's okay. I'm like, okay, like let myself feel that completely and be like, you know what? Probably everyone feels that way sometime. Maybe this is actually a normal, and here's the really crazy thing. Maybe this is even almost a healthy way to feel. And this is where I started switching, not from just acceptance, but into even gratitude. I started feeling gratitude towards my own sense of shame, my own sense of fear, because at the end of the day, I'm like, I gently question myself. One key to dealing with these really heavy emotions is like, don't let them take you over. Don't accept, like, when that feeling comes up and says I'm worthless, don't just agree with it and be like, well, yeah, I get it. Let's just give up. Like, just gently accept it and gently question it. Like, okay, why do you feel that way? Where do you think this is coming from? Did someone treat you this way? Like, as you would, maybe like a little child.
And let's keep in mind, we are not therapists.
Oh, sure.
But so I'm hearing like a therapist listening to this going, actually.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, and yeah.
Well, part of me
this is
like,
what's worked for me. Yeah.
No. And that's exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah.
This is what's worked for you. And for me, I'm over here going, you know what? I don't know what kind of parenting you had exactly, but I just feel like the level of unworthy unwantedness, like I don't know if there are gradations of these things, but like the difference between there is healthy shame and there is toxic shame. And I do think it'd be interesting to try to tease that out a little bit, because I think toxic shame for me is I am a bad person. At my core, I'm a bad person. I was a bad baby. I was bad in utero. I wasn't wanted in utero.
Well, that's what shame is a belief. So there's a difference between guilt and shame.
No,
right?
I know that, but hang on a second.
Yeah.
Just hear me out. Like this is more of like toxic shame, where it's like you shouldn't even have been born feeling. You were not wanted here. Your needs are not natural. You should not feel, you should not cause me any stress. Those are the feelings I have. And I can argue with those intellectually, but inside is like, but then there's healthy shame.
Well, see, I don't argue, I question. I don't say you're wrong. I say, why do you feel that way?
Yeah.
And this is, as it starts to tease itself out, this is where the gratitude starts to come in, is because I'm like, ultimately, if you like at the bottom of all these feelings, what the real urge is, there's actually good intention, even behind the most toxic of shame. The intention is, I'm just trying to protect myself, right? Yeah. Kind of like you said with your mom earlier, she didn't really mean
Survival
to screw
trait.
you up.
Right.
Yeah. And when a kid internalizes this belief about themselves, what they're really trying to do is like, well, I need these adults to take care of me, like on a very subconscious level. They probably don't realize this consciously, but like on a visceral level, they need their attachment to their parent. And if the parent will not accept them for this thing, they're trying to shove that thing down for their own protection, for their own survival, so that they can bond with their parent. And so I've started to express, like, I send love and I send gratitude, even to the parts of me that feel shame, even if I don't think it deserves it. I'm like, thank you for bringing this to my attention. Yeah. Thank you for trying your best to keep us safe. It's so good that you're trying so hard. And what's interesting is then it starts to open up this new little paradox of like, how can you think you're so terrible? The only reason you believe you're so terrible is because you're trying to protect something so valuable. And here's the fun part. It's you. It was you all along. Like a Disney movie, like the real treasure, the thing that you're trying to protect with all of this negative belief is actually the immense, like infinite positive that is you, your soul, your being, your consciousness, right? Like that's what you're really trying to do at the base of all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I love that. I really love that. And I do want to differentiate slightly, because the healthy shame is like that little part of you that feels bad to do something that is a behavior that causes harm to another person, to the culture, to the society. I do think there's a healthy shame, but then there's this really, I think, bigger toxic shame that, and again, I don't know. It's complicated with my mom. What I would say, what I've witnessed in myself that gave me insight into her is that I have tried to offload some of my self-hate and shame onto my own son at times. And I didn't do it consciously, but when I did it, I was like, oh no, that doesn't belong to you. And I was able to apologize and like acknowledge it. I wish it didn't happen at all. But like my therapist says, sometimes it's better to make a repair than to not have ever caused the harm. Like this part of being human is to show like, oh, that was harmful. But I have this bit where I'm trying to wash his feet as a little kid. And for some reason I feel like we're going to die if I don't get these feet washed. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That unconscious association. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And then so I got so like, he ran away from me and like halfway, 1 foot in, and I threw a wet washcloth, hit him right in the middle of the back. Like his heart shocker. It looked like he'd been shot. He's like, ah! Oh my God. He's like a little kid, like 3-4 years old. He told on me immediately.
Yeah.
He told on me to my mom, and I'm like, it's because of her that I did this in the first place.
Oh my God.
That's generational.
There's gotta be, if you could tease out the whole generational, several perspectives on like the same nasty feeling, and this is how it's playing out. Like oh God, it's so bizarre.
Yeah. But I really am embracing what you said. I want you to know I'm hearing you. There was just a part of me that needed to say something more about healthy shame versus
Oh, well,
toxic shame.
and I can elaborate a lot on that because, like, all right, so I think we have different definitions of what we consider shame. So, like, the way that I was taught is that we got to differentiate between guilt and shame. Guilt is I did something wrong. Shame is I am wrong. Shame is actually not a feeling; it's a belief, and that belief triggers a feeling. And often it gets stuck in a loop, right? So toxic shame, the way you're describing it, and this is actually another analogy that I was like so excited to share with you. I was standing in, Louisville Underground.
Yeah.
And there's that section in the back by the bar, and there's those mirrors that are straight across from each other. And anytime there's, two mirrors facing each other, it looks like an infinite room.
Right.
And
especially if they're slightly at an angle.
And then you can look and it looks like you're trapped, right? Like, but obviously when it's just mirrors, you can step around it and be like, oh, that was an illusion. Here's what happens all the time, especially in regards to shame. I feel maybe a sense of fear, and that triggers a belief. Don't show fear. If anyone sees you being afraid, they'll think you're weak and they'll victimize you. And now that sends it back down, and I become even more fearful. Because now I'm afraid about the fact that I'm afraid. So that fear bounces into a belief, becomes more fear. That fear then bounces into that belief again. What's happening? Mirrors.
Crazy house of mirrors.
Exactly. And it's not like, when it's two physical mirrors, you can just step outside and realize, oh no, that was just an illusion. When it's in your mind, how do you step outside of it and realize, oh, wait a minute, maybe I'm creating an illusion in myself? This is where I would say what toxic shame is. More than anything is not just when we feel, bad about ourselves. It's when it creates that illusion. It creates that sort of spiral. And often like the only way we know how to cope is to try and shove it down and ignore it. Like try and, put that illusion in its own weird little room and cordon it off and just shove that down in my stomach and it'll give me cancer in 50 years, but I'm not going to think about it now,
Wow,
but
yeah.
If you can realize one of the, I guess, realizations I came to is, I would have some of these really powerful feelings, like overwhelming feelings of shame or fear or guilt. And I would think one of the beliefs that came up about it is I can't deal with this. It goes on forever. And then I had this moment of I'm a finite being. Nothing I feel goes on forever. Hold up. I'm fooling myself. I realize, oh my God, something about this is causing an illusion that makes me think that not only am I feeling this thing, but it's projected into all of existence, but I'm just one little guy. Nothing that I'm doing is actually projecting that hard into existence. And that sort of made me realize wait, and then I started to meditate and very carefully look at, okay, what is this feeling? Why is it triggering, first of all, a feeling of overwhelm? If you can overcome your feeling of overwhelm, you're actually that. Then I've started to get to some next level stuff because that feeling of oh God, this is way too much. I can't handle it.
It's kind of have to get away from it.
Yeah. There's no other option.
And that's where addictions are. And that's where I've been dissociating, watching a lot of poker lately. Don't ask me why. And chess tutorials. I'm obsessed with chess right now.
Interesting.
And I mean, that is what I've been doing is on my phone. I've been playing chess over and over with, I got to beat that level, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Anyway. But so that moment where I feel I don't even always even know why. It's just all of a sudden I've got to get out of this feeling and dissociate and do whatever it is, some little addictive thing, whether it's a phone thing, a substance.
It's it triggers the behavior response. Not only is there the internal feeling, but now it's triggered a behavior that I can use to try and distract, mitigate, whatever.
Okay, so take me to this moment. You're going to meditate, you're going to feel, and you're starting to have this dialogue. And you know what I mean? I think the thing that I could use help with is that moment where you're on the fringes of becoming overwhelmed. You can kind of feel it coming. Is there something that walks it back? This is why I talk about humor, to me, can take me from a place of overwhelm back to manageability and to where, okay, if I titrate this with a little bit of humor, I can actually feel a little deeper. But how to do it without, with just keep going into it.
Well, and you do, I would say, I would caution, once again, if a therapist was listening to this, I would caution, don't try and force this on yourself. Just try and recognize, that's a big part of it. Because you don't want to be oh, I'm just going to force myself to feel this hurt until that's not the point. The point is to just sort of allow it. And also recognizing that, so that feeling comes up and it triggers a belief. So whenever that feeling, that immense fear comes up that feels infinite, and then realize what is it telling me? What belief does this trigger? And a lot of the time there's no point in dealing with this. It's not worth it. It's impossible. It doesn't matter. I'm not worth it. It's just too much. I can't handle it. But also think about, like, you ever been for a jog and you hit your second wind? Your body is telling you, we simply cannot go any further. But like, that's not true. Like, if you keep running, your body will be like, oh, we're doing this. Like, it's basically
That's a good metaphor.
Yeah, you're kind of hitting your second wind. I like that metaphor
because I've run a couple of marathons, and you hit the wall when your glycogen runs out at like mile 20. But something in you, like if you have that goal in your mind.
Yeah, the feeling of, oh God, this is too much. I simply cannot feel this feeling and survive. That itself is just another feeling.
Right.
And once you learn to recognize it as such, you start to build up a bit of a tolerance. And I call that my panic button. Okay. Like I've experienced it so many times that like it's a very distinct, almost like a switch that gets flipped of like fight or flight starts to kick in.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you go into midbrain, then you're not thinking with your frontal lobe.
But you learn to recognize like, oh, wait a minute, that light turned on. Do I think that's true, or do I think that I'm having that feeling? And any feeling that arose naturally from when you're just sitting there meditating, and it's very important. This is why, like, find somewhere safe where it's, you know, quiet and you can give yourself space. Because you're going to feel like you're dying. But if you can look around and realize, like, why do I feel that way? If you're able to question it even a little bit, and that's why, like,
I like questioning and being curious.
Question, don't command, because like the body's already sending you commands. It's like, no, I know what's happening and I know it's bad.
Yes.
And you're not going to sit there and tell it. Like, if a kid comes to you screaming, I'm hurt. And a lot of parents do this, but you shouldn't do this. You don't say, no, you're not. You know, like, but I feel pain.
Yeah, or my dad, like, well, I fell and hit my head on the concrete. Did you crack the concrete? Like, he would try to get me to laugh too soon. Too soon, Dad. Not ready. My stuff is pre-verbal. That's what was coming up for me. There's no dialogue with an infant or an in utero fetus, you know, because I do believe my trauma. Her mother died in a car accident when I was 2 months in gestation. So very early. And then I lost two of my pregnancies at about that same moment. And I don't know if there's any correlation.
There's science. Yeah. But what happens to you in utero can affect you as you get older.
Yeah.
They've actually studied that. Yeah.
Right. And she was smoking, you know, and take a hit. Anyway,
I'm hitting a vape for the folks at home.
I could hit that. I could edit that off. It's so ironic that you took that. It's so perfect.
I think that triggered the behavior. You're like,
well, that's interesting.
And she was smoking, and I'm like, good point.
No, but I think that was like synchronicity, because that was just coming up, and again. We know that nicotine is one of the most powerful addictions, and the most because I think it does bring almost instant relief. I've seen documentaries where they show cells, like individual cells, just pulsating and craving nicotine, and it's just one of the most powerful. I know friends who've gotten off heroin and all kinds of things, but the nicotine is the big one. But okay. Where was I? I don't know. Oh, pre-verbal. So let's talk about how can we mime it? Let's mime on the radio. Let's mime.
Oh, that's a great insult. You're about as useful as a mime on the radio.
But how do we pre-verbally or non-verbally? Like, that's another fun, like as I feel like I do sometimes little physical things. Like, I was thinking about crossing midline, trying to comfort my inner baby that's pre-verbal with like touching one of my brain spotting therapists would have me do butterfly hugs on each shoulder, you know, touching, alternating each shoulder, kind of hugging my own deltoids.
There's like a whole series of practices, like EMDR works on the same basic principle.
Exactly. And I was thinking that's sort of where I think meditation is similar to EMDR and brain spotting for me, and humor, I will say, because humor, you have to use all the major lobes of your brain to get a joke. So it kind of gets you out of the fight, flight, freeze. But anyway, I was just thinking about when it's not so intellectual, it's more of just an embodiment. Like for me, a lot of times with my reparenting, I just don't necessarily try to fix it, but just witness, hold, hear it. And like you said, I love this promise that I will never leave you. I mean, clearly it's I am my own nesting doll.
Well, that's a hard feeling to recognize, is sometimes the instruction that comes up, you sit in this pain and the feeling is just leave me here. Or the belief that comes up is you should just leave me. Or, you know, or I don't know, what's another really good one? I just had one like earlier today where it was, you know, like if you sit in this, you will die. Like, and so I guess, and this kind of goes into what you're saying. So when it's pre-verbal, it takes more patience, but the longer you are able to just hold space for that feeling, it will start to translate itself. Like it will, like your body knows how to talk to itself, but it takes, I think, practice and patience. And we're like so disconnected from ourselves, from nature. Like modern society is so set up for us to fail in this regard. So it's no wonder we have to like take time to actually practice it and relearn it. But your body knows how to translate feelings into beliefs into words. It takes more time when it's something that comes from a time that's pre-verbal. Once again, it comes back to that. It's easy to say, it's really hard to do, because like, I don't mean to sugarcoat, like you're going to have to sit in some of the worst feelings you've ever had in your life and wait for them to tell you what they want. It's like a kid who's just like so overwhelmed, right? They're having a total meltdown and you can't even ask them like, what do you need from me? Because they can't even tell you.
No.
They are just so overwhelmed.
I know.
And so you're going to have to sit there and recognize, okay, I'm having this strong feeling. On top of that, I'm having the feeling of overwhelm. So I want to panic and leave. And once I start to recognize that though, can I still recognize it for what it is and just sort of let it, you know, wait until it's ready to tell me what it needs to tell me. And that can take, gosh, I mean, I'm still working through it. It's not like I've like perfected this by any means. It's like weeks, months, years, but also like, what else do you really have to do with your life if not to like experience the kind of love that starts to release itself once you actually start to work through this stuff? I'll say, as bad as it can get, when you start to move through it, there's like no better feeling. Like this thing that has been like subconsciously kind of messing with you, control it. Since I've started doing these practices, like my confidence is way up, my eye contact is better, my stage presence is off the like I mean, every aspect of my life. You're so much
more connected with yourself.
Exactly.
And in a positive way.
Yeah. And it's hard to measure directly other than like, because it's not that I'm like getting, 30% better at writing jokes. It's like I'm getting 1 to 2% better at literally every single thing in my life. You know what I mean? Like I'm able to enjoy myself more when I'm happy. I'm able to comfort myself better when I'm sad. I do think my part of that, my hard drive or whatever is getting freed up in my brain. So I am a little bit better at writing jokes. Part of that is also just like experience and doing it a lot, but I'm able to like commit to it more and have more experience and do it a lot because I'm not constantly stressed about like as I'm writing, that little subconscious part of me that goes like, no one's ever going to like you. Why would you ever say this on stage? And okay, like if I diminish that voice by 5%, I'm all of a sudden that much better at doing the things that I love to do. Right. So yeah, I don't want to sugarcoat. Like if you're, and I guess I can't like officially I'm not a therapist.
Yeah,
I can't recommend this practice. I feel like you're
safe. I think it's safe to say I statements. Like
I do this.
Yes.
And I have noticed
this is I feel like that there's no, it's an unarguable truth. Like this is what has worked for you.
That's true. Yeah.
And I can say for me, when I'm getting into some of those deeper, darker in utero and little infant Nance traumas, I love having a therapist right there holding my hand, literally holding my hand, because it feels so overwhelming to me. Like I really feel like I am dying, and it helps me. Like I did have a dream once about my therapist. Like I will never forget the feeling of her holding my hand during this psychedelic trauma therapy. And then later, a lot of the integration work takes place weeks later. And I was having this dream where I was back living in Hawaii, and I was at Sandy Beach, which is known for like its shore break, and it pummels you, and a lot of people unfortunately get injured there. But I was just getting pummeled over and over in this beach, and I was like you were saying, there's this hopeless feeling of like, oh God, the cycle. It's called you're in the washing machine of shore break, and I just in the heavy water, the tons of water hitting me into the sand, and I kept trying to put my head literally down hold it down so that the impact wouldn't be so bad. And all of a sudden, somebody grabbed my hand and just whoosh, pulled me up onto the beach into the sunshine, and it was my therapist. Wow. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
I do. For me, and this is cool. I think this is, I just love it. I love hearing your approach that I can do between sessions, or maybe someday. I don't know if I'll ever not have a therapist, but someday if I don't, or anybody out there who doesn't, I love this idea of like just sitting with, but I also want people to be safe, not get to a place where, wow, I guess they know their psyche will take care of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there's a lot of, so it sounds like a lot of what the therapist does is also like, they're grounding for you. They bring you into physical reality. There's a lot of grounding techniques and so like what I do is like, still pay very close attention to my environment. Like while I'm going through all of this, What do I see? What do I feel? Like, do I, pay attention to your
very
breath?
much like EMDR. They afterwards.
Yeah, if you want to go outside and put your bare feet in some grass, touch grass, right?
Like literal grounding with the earth.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, do something that reminds you, like, and also it helps maybe to set a little bit of intention beforehand. I'll go into it thinking like, okay, some of that stuff I've been putting off, I'm going to feel it now. Like, and it helps now that I've done it enough times where like, as the really difficult stuff starts to hit, so fear can turn into a bad belief, but almost every really bad belief almost immediately triggers the belief of like, wait, we've done this before. Like, and also I love that. The reason I love that image of like, have you ever been in, a room with two mirrors facing each other, is because that is something that is such like a visceral visual symbol that like that's dream logic. You could have a dream like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, like when you had the dream about your therapist, like that's because on a very subconscious level, even your most emotional, unconscious mind could still understand the concept of this person's here. They're going to help me. They're keep me safe. On a very visceral, emotional level, my body understands the concept of like, wait a minute, Hall of Mirrors. Like sometimes I see things that aren't quite true. If it looks infinite, be suspicious. Like that triggers so fast.
I love that. Yeah. If it looks infinite, if it's
exactly,
and that is the trick. A lot of times with even like suicidal ideation, like this is never going to end.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that is your brain playing tricks on you.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that.
If you think the bad times are going to last forever, just
say House
immediately.
Of Mirrors.
Yeah. Like I have an immediate suspicion of any feeling that presents itself as this is infinite. It's going to last forever. This is all you are. If you let yourself sink into this, you'll never get out. So fast now, I'm able to be like, hold on. You've told me
Nice
this before.
try.
Like, maybe this is the time you're right, but I don't know, man. We've done this hundreds of times, and every single time, if we just kind of observe more carefully, we're able to see how this feeling pings around and bounces off itself. And usually it's actually one small feeling that has been magnified out of proportion by a Hall of Mirrors. Like, and so, yeah, and on a very, very intuitive level, I'm able to internalize that. So that's what helps for me. I don't know. There's probably other illusions that might be even more visceral for someone else, but that one's really good for me.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing. I feel like I've been a little argumentative with you. Like, come on and tell me how you cope with shame, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
My shame is worse than everyone's. Yeah, no one's ever felt that way before. Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned, but mine started in a past life. Lately, I've been having this idea, and I don't know that I have noticed in my comedy, because I do think humor is a gateway to the subconscious. I really believe that, right? It's like a dream thing. So, I mean, when I first, back in the day, so, I started comedy back in the 90s or 80s actually, but it doesn't matter. Point is, I would say these jokes about something like, oh, it was like too bold to go where no man has gone before. Where is that? My bedroom. And I had a husband at the time. But I was like, and then all these, lesbians are hitting on me at the shows. And I'm like, what's up with that? And then, I realized, oh, I have some lesbian tendencies. And right now, what's going on with past life stuff, I've been talking about, I'm a 5th generation nurse. And before that, we were called witches. And I'm like, I'm having these weird, like, I'm realizing what stage fright is all about. Is like, I think I've been burned at the stake before. And I'm like, I'm trying to talk people out of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I just want to heal people, okay? I don't want to take money from your church, or whatever the reason they killed the witches. I think it was about probably money for the church and power and control.
Yeah, and just like scapegoating, Actually, I think I remember hearing someone talk about like it was in some ways it's similar to what we're going through now, actually, unfortunately. But like a lot of time, a sudden rise, like a dramatic rise in our ability to disseminate information also relates to like sort of a panic and scapegoating. So like at this time, printing press kind of all of a sudden was like revolutionizing the way information was disseminated. And so, like witch burnings became very popular.
If you're having a hardship, blame a nurse. I mean a witch.
Or
if you're having a hardship, blame a witch.
Just the world was opening up for people in new ways that made them then become reactionary and react in a way where we're like, we need to figure out, what it is that's poisoning our community, and we can't blame the thing that seems to be helping us. So like
we can't blame the people that are in power, because they will decapitate us.
Same way, unfortunately, the rise of like radio and television, or I would say movies more, actually correlated with the rise of fascism around the world in like the 1930s and 40s. Same way today, we're still dealing with the hangover of the invention of the internet. Dissemination of misinformation, people with a real stick up their butt that really have a message that should be filtered out. It's no longer filtered because they have access to could have been radio. Today it's, Facebook.
Yeah. And then that little propaganda.
You guys got people at home. You got to see Nancy clutching her forehead.
I'm like,
mind blown.
Well, it also makes sense to me that this stuff is up for me. I feel like I'm time traveling backwards to the 90s when I was coming out all over the country as a lesbian in Montana and Texas and places where, frankly, people would tell me in the parking lot, well, everybody has a gun in their truck, don't you? Just trying to drop a little fear in me because I was having too much fun sharing that, hey, I'm just the lesbian next door. Don't be scared.
Yeah.
And now, of course, I don't identify as a lesbian. And when I came out to a group of lesbians that I'm no longer a lesbian identified, they ostracized me. So
Wow.
You've never, I always say that, like my mother, it was harder to come out to a group of lesbians as either bisexual or pansexual, or right now I'm just barely sexual, doesn't matter. But when I came out to my mother in the Ozarks, who was not pleased, but it was easier to come out to her than a group of lesbians here in Boulder that I am no longer lesbian identified. Anyway, we all have our judgments. Before we leave this topic of sitting with feelings, I want to just play this reel. I love what you're saying is sitting in the fear and the abandonment and the pain. This guy moved me so much. I just think there's a reason I saved this today, but I didn't know why. It's for this.
The greatest thing I ever did was to sit in the pain of my unloved self. It was the most excruciating thing, to sit in the pain again and again and again and again, and die again and again and again and again, and I wailed and I cried and I died again and again and again and again. I realized how unloved I was, that I've been operating from my blind, bleeding beggar of abandonment my whole fucking life. And the word we call loneliness is just an inability to sit with that pain of the unloved self. So we're always seeking for someone else from our blind, bleeding beggar of abandonment. Just can't face to be on its own. So it settles for scraps. I'm loved. My unloved self is finally loved by someone else. Bullshit. It's a band-aid for your abandonment. To sit in the pain of the unloved self. Fuck. You cremate that karma. You rise from that ashes. Fucking hell. You look back and you see what a blind beggar, how abandoned I was. But you have to go through the pain again and again and again. You can't go back after that.
Wow. Yep. That's it. That's like everything I'm talking about. This guy gets it. This guy gets it. Wow.
I mean, what are the odds that, I don't know what the odds are. Probably my phone is listening in when I'm going.
Well, yeah, no, I sent you that meme. Like I heard the episode and I sent you that meme about I think I sent you a meme about sitting with the parts of you that feel like they don't deserve to be loved.
Yes.
And then this probably,
Yeah,
the algorithm is
we are dovetailing on each other.
Oh my
and
God.
I'll put a link to this man's page and say his name because I don't have my reading glasses on. And I can never read. I can never read the Instagram handles anyway.
David Dayan Fisher.
Is that him? Like if you hit his, how sometimes is it somebody else that shared him or is that his page?
Yeah, David Dayan, Dayan Fisher.
God, I love it. And I love that he's walking through the woods talking about this and the birds are chirping. Like it's all happening at once. Mm-hmm. A beautiful day, but and this expression of being a blind beggar, like, where do you think he's from? I don't know where that accent is from. Exactly.
Oh, I do. I love that analogy because like there is a part of me, like I know exactly what he's talking about. The part that is it's this raw, uncomfortable need. And also it's so upset, like that it lives in need. Like it's so ashamed of its own need. It has all these beliefs around like, oh God, I'm in fear. And also that means that I have to make myself pathetic. I can't let people see me. I can't that to me is what he's speaking to there. And I am very familiar with that feeling. Yeah. The blind and blind is another apt sort of metaphor because it's so raw. It's so, if you literally do close your eyes, like it's still there. It just persists. It's raw. It's unconscious. It's not necessarily reactive. to the outside world, in that it's constant and doesn't really care. Like no matter how much you give it, right? Like in an addiction, no matter how much you try and throw on top of it, it's a bottomless pit. But once again, it's that illusion. It's probably just a hall of mirrors, but it feels like it's bottomless no matter what you try and throw on top of it, no matter how much you try to ignore it. It's just this raw, constant need.
My toxic shame, really, I could even see this. It's almost like a black point inside of me, but it was like a black hole, so tight. But I was working on this in therapy of, literally trying to dismantle it was like an encapsulation of my light. Like literally somehow my light threatened my mom, and I can't explain that. Just when she sees a spark in my eye, I guarantee you she's going to bring me down.
Yep.
And it would be like,
same thing.
I'm so happy about a little something. And don't you think you're all that, or better watch for this shoe to fall, or, even my son was dancing around one time. I think he was 2 or 3 going, I'm awesome. I'm awesome. And I was like, oh, look how cute he is. She goes, oh, he thinks he is, does he? And she loved him. I mean, it was wild to me.
Yeah, no, I had the same thing. If I started having too much fun around my dad when he was in a mood, he'll find a reason to make sure I'm not in that, like, you don't get to be happy right now. What are you thinking? You're actually in trouble. That's how you should feel. Like, I had that too.
It's like maybe it triggers their shame. And I was thinking, let me look at my own stuff, because I have to say social media really can be that, like, it can bring you some beautiful insight like this, or it can awaken this compare-itis where I'm like, what is going on with my algorithm that only 2 people saw my story? Like it'll say 2 people saw your story. Or if 300 people saw it and nobody liked it, it's like, what happened? And nobody liked my story. Nobody liked my story. Like what is that? Like that, that just externally referencing our okayness. And I'm still addicted to someone telling me I'm okay.
Yeah. Oh, and actually,
I just want to call somebody sometime and go, will you tell me I'm okay? So how can I call myself?
See, I don't.
Can I have a dialogue? Like, can I just call myself? Like,
yeah, there's certainly nothing wrong with like leaning on others for support. But if it is coming from that place of like that bottomless pit, no matter how much someone validates you, it won't matter. And there's so many cases of this. There's like all these influencers and stuff. Like a lot of these influencers on, TikTok or Instagram or whatever are miserable. Like no matter how much, there's a lot in entertainment. You see a lot of these people that are trying to fill that hole.
Of course. And then they start comparing themselves to themselves. Like, oh, I got 13,000 likes and today I only got 7. You're right. Anything that comes from the outside like that is never going to satisfy. It's got to come from, we know this. I hate to be cliche, but the reparenting is so much of what I need to do. And then there's just days where, hey, you didn't get enough sleep. A couple of variables stacked up on you. I made a misstep, or I hurt someone's feelings, and I'm like, I'm a horrible person. I can't remember my neighbor's name. I called him Jerry, and he's Doug.
Oh, it's not even close.
That happened yesterday. Well, he had the same hat.
Oh, he was wearing Doug's hat.
And
Jerry's hat.
It was Jerry's
see,
hat.
I already forgot.
But see, I wish I could, because I was out running today and I saw a guy that looked like Doug, and I said, oh, I hope it's Doug so I can apologize again. I already apologized once, and I can't. I don't know. I just cannot apologize enough. And nor sometimes can somebody else apologize to me enough. Like if you have wronged me, could you tell me again that you're sorry?
Oh, no, actually, and this is kind of another like slight difference in definition. So there's shame, which is where you develop sort of a negative belief about yourself, right? Toxic shame is when you develop a belief over something you didn't even have any control over. So like shame, and so that's where like healthy shame to an extent is, and I would sort of argue based on my definition that like there's no such thing as like healthy shame. What I would call is humility, right? Like having realistic beliefs about yourself as far as like what I can and can't do. And maybe it's okay to even question those now and then, but shame is like where you develop a belief that triggers instant guilt, instant fear, and oftentimes kind of keeps you in a loop. Toxic shame is often like, like when a parent treats you a certain way and you develop the belief that like, oh, it's my job to control their feelings about me. Like,
yes.
So yeah, like,
okay, so that's
shame. Yeah. Shame is when you develop sort of this unconscious negative association. Oh, I'm too loud. I shouldn't, bother people with my presence. Toxic shame is I shouldn't even express certain emotions to any, say, authority figure figure because I've got this association of anytime they have a negative reaction to me, it's definitely my fault. Toxic shame, the classic example is like when parents get divorced, you got to make sure the kid knows it's not their fault. Because even if it's clearly not, they'll still find some reason where like, oh no, my world's being upended. Did I do something bad? Like that's kind of classic toxic shame.
Oh yeah, I have an example of toxic shame this is about something completely, I don't know completely, but pretty much benign, where I was at a campsite. I was camping with some friends. I was doing a comedy show. Do you know Anthony Crawford?
Yeah, of course.
I got to get him on the podcast. He was supposed to come on a little while back, but he would have this. I did comedy naked at the Mountain Air Ranch, and it was so empowering, like such a body positive place. And I'm gonna do another show, the Bear Show with Chris Wellman.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those. They're really good.
I just think at my age where my skin is really sagging a little, it's like, ooh, to get naked in front of people, it's like the scariest, but also the most empowering thing to just like, oh, I lived through that and I'm okay. It's also weird as a non-binary-ish person to be naked because I do identify as a female sex, but non-binary gender. So when I'm naked, pretty female looking, you know what I mean? But hey, okay, where was I going with that? I had a whole thing I was going to say.
Sort of an
shame.
example.
Oh,
Yeah.
so Anthony and Zach and Michael Isaacs was there, and we had a great show. And then after, some of my friends were drinking a lot, and then I was aware that it's a family atmosphere. It's a nudist family atmosphere. People are going to sleep, and I feel responsible for everybody's behavior. And I'm trying to keep them down. I'm trying like, hey, you guys, people are trying, but they're drinking. So they are just talking louder and louder. And I mean, about things that maybe aren't suitable for consumption by all ages. And I was just like feeling so bad. Like it's my fault that they're all talking so loud and I can't control it. So would that be an example of toxic shame?
Yeah, the fact that you're feeling responsible for the behavior of people around you, and also it sounds like you're having a hard time.
And I'm projecting like all onto everybody in the tents.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Well, and that's because like
I'm imagining they must be so frustrated and angry right now that they can't sleep.
And if people are going to bed, there's nothing wrong with quieting down a little, and that's why like it is really hard. This is where I would say, yeah, humility is important. Realizing like it's not necessarily, my tendency to be loud that's a problem, but there's like, certain contexts where it's okay to control my behavior. Like, we do have, I would say, some responsibility to be, a pro-social, aware, empathetic person. But then do you internalize that as a belief of, oh, I can just never have my voice be heard? Like that's where it starts to get extreme. That's,
well, I do deal with that. And then like, oh, what if I hurt one person's feelings in the audience? It's so. And like I said, this wasn't even my gig. I wasn't the one organizing it, but I was the one feeling like I had to be the adult. Anyway, thank you. This was so helpful to talk about.
Well, do you want to try, actually, this would be a fun little exercise. Do you want to try and write any jokes about shame? I think that
do
could
a
be
traumedy
fun.
exercise?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we do that, I want to bring something up at the meeting that I just want to make sure we talk about. Nurses off the charts.
Yeah.
You have been in on it before. This is also nurses. I mean, oh my gosh, these are my people. Nurses Week is coming up May 6th through the 12th. And so I'm going to do a nurses show at Comedy Works South and then at Looney's down in Colorado Springs. So this is Denver and Colorado Springs. And you have been on those shows before. And you were just saying that you might be willing to come on another show on the 6th.
Oh, I would definitely be willing to do the 6th.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no question on the 6th. I would love to do that show.
Okay,
yes.
and I'll do my best to make that happen. And so I just want to encourage people to come out because what we want to do is I want to talk about not only things that are like dealing with trauma or, freaky, funny things. I don't want too many foreign body stories. I really want to hear sort of cool, touching stories that have happened as a nurse that keep you going back, or as a EMT or healthcare provider, or even somebody who's been a patient, like a very wow, I had this really special encounter in healthcare that saved my life, changed my life, reaffirmed my faith in humanity, or something like that. I want to hear those kind of stories. So I just want to put that out there before I forget. Okay, I did it. And I did it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now.
Well, and also this could be like almost bonus episode. Like you could do this as like an attachment. You know what I mean? Like this is the main episode. And then it's like, if you're interested in hearing how a comedian's brain works, we're going to have this extra little 20 minutes where we're like, how do we take that? And how does a comedian turn that into a joke that might even work on stage?
Okay. I love it. Let's do that. Let's just, so let's conclude this episode.
Yeah.
And then we got bonus material, which I need to figure out how to upload the bonus material. So, hey, Von Sprecken, thank
Yeah.
you again
Thank
for
you.
answering
Yeah.
my call and my need and letting me kind of argue with you just a little bit, you know. About,
Oh, that's good. No, I like the pushback because that's just a chance for me to like elaborate and prove what I think I know. Because who knows? I could also be like totally crazy and wrong. It isn't important when you brought up like not a therapist. Your mileage may vary. If you
Yeah.
if you feel like this is making you worse, for the love of God, please get help. Like don't stress yourself out and like induce fight or flight.
Yeah.
Like don't just dive into your pain like that. But if you can approach it gently and question it, great. You know, like yeah. But that so it's important.
And I love,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am going to keep encouraging I statements. It is peer-to-peer sharing.
Yeah.
Here's how I'm dealing with it. Here's how you're dealing with it. And then, yeah, these definitions. What is shame? What is guilt? What is toxic shame? This is so helpful. So thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
really
you.
glad
That's
you're
really
here.
cool. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sure you'll be back in 5 minutes. Let's just put this out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
I know I never can end a sentence. I want to do Traumedy Live, and I will be doing it at the World Arts Festival in Homer, Alaska, believe it or not.
Nice.
Going to Homer in September. What we're going to do is a workshop like what you and I were talking about, something that's been a vision of mine for a while, is help people play with their pain. And so it's going to be interactive, sort of like Nurses Off the Charts is interactive.
Yeah, yeah.
And in a similar yet slightly different way. And then who knows, maybe end up doing like a little psychodrama, take a little pain and play with it.
Yeah.
All right, I put it out there. Thank you, Von Sprecken.
Thank you.
I want to thank my guest, Von Sprecken. Follow Von on Instagram at GetSprecked. And then also follow that guy that we played his reel, David Day Fisher. I will put his Instagram down in the show notes. That's the segment that we played. And come out to Nurses Off the Charts. Come laugh with us if you're in town. I will be going around the country. I'm going over to the Washington, D.C. area. I know I'm going to Bethesda, Maryland, and Frederick, Maryland. And where else? I don't know. There's a lot of shows. Go to nancynorton.tv. Again, I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, for putting the music together for Traumedy. And I want to thank you, the listener, for listening, witnessing, and also messaging me and coming on the show. If you want to be on the show, if you have something to share, I would love to hear about it. Thank you, and remember, no matter what, keep laughing.